Hello, investors, and welcome back. Let's talk about SNDL. I want to talk about the macroeconomic indicators. We focused on those during the last video a little bit. We expected this market pullback, the housing data, and that this would get into a buy range. We've been drawing lines for those of you that haven't entered into a position. Maybe you've gotten burned by these type of stocks in the past, these flower stocks. You want to stay away from them. I will tell you they have pulled back dramatically. A lot has, and everything appears to be in a buy range. Now, why would you buy a stock that is 20x price to sales when everything else in the sector is around 3 or 5? It doesn't make sense unless you understand what's happening with this stock in the future. Now, is there elements in this stock, dark pool actions, that are causing it to stay under $1? I want to talk about that during this video. This is going to be a really important week. Be sure to contribute to the channel by hitting that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. You can also leave the video a big thumbs up if anything in this is helpful. Now, also, there is a thanks button if you'd like to contribute to the channel or if you'd like me to cover something different. I know we've been talking about this a lot. We do talk about a lot of other stocks in the Patreon. The only stock I don't plan on covering anymore is Twitter, and that's because we've already talked about that. Even prior to Elon Musk buying Twitter, it's going private, so I wouldn't consider that an investment any longer. Just hold on to it if you got it and sell it if you want to sell it, because that transaction is pretty much complete, even though it has to go through some of the regulatory steps to be finalized. So the Dow fell about 650 points today, and last Friday, the Dow fell more than 980 points, or 2.8%. I would just say this is a great time to not only pay attention to these corporate earnings reports that are coming out this week. Facebook, Meta, Microsoft, Google, Pinterest, PayPal. I mean, they're just some of the ones that I'll really be paying attention to, because I want to understand how much is this going to change given this first quarter. We're coming out of that COVID lockdown, pandemic plays, and are we seeing a slowdown in consumer spending? Are we seeing a housing market bubble start to form? Are we ushering in the next recession? So be sure to pay attention to these macroeconomic indicators. I believe we're trading a very different market than last year. Last year was an outlier, and now we are very much due for a reset, and I believe we haven't completely felt that reset yet. Netflix was just an example of what is potentially going to happen with some of these stocks. 9th Annual Conference on Financial Market Regulation. Pay attention to sec.gov. Last video, I talked about Market Watch for those economic indicators. Down here at 11:15 to 11:45, some of you might have a lunch break. I'll be covering this next Friday. Squeezing shorts through social media platforms. There is a trading strategy of using these short squeezes, and I just think that's going to be very interesting. Now, if you're not following me on Twitter, be sure to do that, Just Randy Stocks or at Stocks Randy. I'd love to have you interact with you guys there. And if you participated in the poll, thank you so much. There was about 134 people. I was asking SNDL next week, once earnings are released, what do you expect to happen? And that's assuming that earnings will be released. And some of you believe that we might get a shock in the earnings, or it could be delayed. Some of you think we'll go over $1. I'm sitting here in the 70-80 cent range. I think we're not going to have enough gunpowder unless we get very, very clear guidance that incorporates the intention to buy Nova, 100% stake in Nova, and through cash, and that we also plan on not doing a reverse stock split. I think that's going to be really important. And then the guidance outlook needs to be very clear about Alcana and how that's going to add free cash flow, as much information as we can get on what they project. Now, Alcana's a seasonal business, and as far as I understand from what I've read, that Q4 was really strong. Q1's not going to be as strong, but this should be a good year. Now, can Sundial break out of this under $1 range before July? Because July will be the time frame in which you want to get out of this play if they plan on doing. And if Zach and the leadership team is in favor reverse stock split, it's not going to be good for shareholders. And that's just what I think. This is not investment advice to buy or sell. But I will tell you that there's 3 analyst price targets, and I just think they're wrong. I think they're wrong right now. 78 cents, 89 cents high, low of 59 cents. We're sitting at 50 cents right now. I think you add hard to your position if this gets to 47 in the high 40s, because earnings should be soon. Now, it's a risky play. There's risk in every play just because this is a penny stock trading at a 20 times multiple and we haven't gotten over $1 yet. So is there enough time before the following earnings to get over $1? That's in question right now. I want to talk about that at the end of this video. Now you can see in the chart here, I've got it in the 30-minute chart. And right here, we're meeting resistance at 53 cents. 53 cents, and then right here was 55. And it just keeps doing these little steps down. It's not doing steps up, but at some point it has to reach some support and start to reverse. And previously that happened when it stepped down into this 40-cent range. So that's why I drew this line down here at 47.38. So be sure to watch that, because we could be very close to where we find support for SNDL from a technical perspective. In this article, I found this really funny, that research indicates that these estimate revisions are directly correlated with near-term share price momentum. We developed this Zacks ranking system to capitalize on this phenomenon. Now, what's really funny is that they're mentioning this, and this is an absolute manipulation of share price by doing any kind of ranking to cause a sell-off in price action before earnings, where earnings is the only transparent thesis update to a share price. And the only reason that you would put out an article or put indication, research, downgrade, sell rating prior to the thesis coming out is because you want a lower share price. So you can buy into this, manipulate the share price to get a lower price. And that's exactly what I believe is happening here. Now let's take a look at this dark pool volume off the exchange transaction. 74%. Last 30 days, 69% of the volume took place off the exchange, where they get to collaborate. They get to hold hands and talk about price action, make trades. Now, with Sundial, it's much higher. And how do you figure that out? You have to look at something like Tilray. Off the exchange, only 41%, or 46%. Tilray has got a much lower trading volume off the exchange than Sundial, making it easier to manipulate this stock. Dark pools, these dark pools are an alternative trading system that are legal, but it gives certain investors the opportunity to place very large orders or make trades without publicly revealing their intentions during the search for a buyer or seller. Now, if you look at dark pools, are they illegal? Are they legal? What's their cost benefits? Now, it sparked concerns because it's not transparent. It gives a few institutional traders who execute a majority of the dark pool trades under unfair informational advantages, and they can use these to front run trades. So there is manipulation that's going to happen. Penny stocks are known for manipulation. Can they keep this down under $1? Is that what the leadership team wants? Here's your pros and cons. Lack of transparency, potential conflicts of interest. You know, there's some pros. Reducing market impact, increase liquidity off exchanges, maximize price devaluation. I mean, things that don't benefit us. So I would say the Nova Cannabis acquisition here, you know, taking over the changes that have been made to the board, I believe they're going to acquire the rest of the stake. The share price did pull down into that 40-cent range, 0.4950. So for those of you that have been patient, tomorrow morning, market open, there could be a dip, could be a buying opportunity. But I did do a video on Tough Build Industries, TBLT, just to show you, and I know that most of you didn't realize that I was doing this for Sundial holders, but for those of you that have not been through a reverse stock split, this is exactly what you could see happen. Very similar. This was 150 to 1 reverse stock split. I don't think it'll be 150 to 1, but in July, if they're not clear about this, if Zach decides to not talk about the topic, you can assume that they're in favor of a reverse stock split to reduce the total number of shares, to get this above a dollar. There, maybe even make it $20. It depends how many shares they decide to do for one. But when a reverse stock split is announced, it is very bad for shareholders. Just go back, watch that video. They did 151. This thing has just been dropping like crazy. This is basically at about 9 cents now per share. If you take it back and you unreverse the share stock split, so it's going to be really important. Moral of the story, recap of everything that I've covered in the video for Sundial during this video. It's a buy here in the high 40-cent range. I believe you might want to take profits after this earnings. For those of you that don't plan on holding this long term, you have until July, the beginning of July, I will say June, you want to start looking at this. Has Sundial done enough to get this over $1? If they haven't by that time, the next earnings come out, what's the timing for that? If it's post July, if it's in August, you can expect a reverse stock split to be announced in July. If they can't get this over $1, there could be enough pressure to keep it down before they recognize that Alcana earnings. If guidance isn't strong, this might be the time to take profits during this next earnings release. Sit back and watch, wait and watch. Let the market do what it's going to do and come back in post reverse stock split after this drops. Like Tough Build Industries, be sure to watch that video. That's all I got for you. I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Give the video a big thumbs up. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.